in this because this is a Nicole story that you wanted to pick today, and I think it was interesting. So Kirk Cameron was in town for his new book, and I didn't really know. Kirk Cameron has been more of like a cultural issue lately, but it's from Growing Pains, right?
Yes, Growing Pains.
Growing Pains. See, that's why I need you for these.
Did you watch Growing Pains?
I don't
You might have
really
been pretty
recall
young.
it.
It was when I was pretty young, so it was
Okay.
even younger for
I mean,
you.
I know it in theory.
Yes.
But so he comes into town because he's got a new book out, and it's a kid's book, and it has been called by some anti-gay, which he rejects wholesale.
Right.
He says it's about the dangers of pride from a biblical perspective and trying to teach
Not
that
pride the...
biblical lesson to kids.
Right, just pride in general pride.
Right. He says it's not anti-gay, it's pro-humanity. And look, he has, talked about how he doesn't believe that, like LGBTQ in terms of the Bible, and he's very religious. So let's just put it that way.
Yes.
Very religious guy, which is fine. As long as you're not trying to force your religion on other people, as long as you're not trying to like force your open your book and be like, read this to a little child while their eyes are pried open, right? So he's coming to Seattle, and he had this book thing with Coach Kennedy, who's the Bremerton coach and the whole Supreme Court thing with praying on the field. So naturally, right, some protesters show up to this event. It wasn't very many. I think in the grand scheme of things, this is an article from Fox. Seattle protesters tell patriotic Kirk Cameron he's growing to be a real pain. That was one of the signs, is growing to be a real pain. But why we chose this for Unbelievable today is I was shocked that public libraries didn't cancel the event.
I know.
I was like, can we get it? Are we making movements? Is this momentum? Again, I think that whenever you have this sort of push to cancel somebody whose ideology doesn't, align with yours, we have seen too often entities give in to that. In Seattle Public Libraries, I'm like, oh, they'll for sure give in. But they sent out a tweet saying, many of you are asking why we would allow this booking, citing the author's views on abortion, LGBTQ plus rights, and more. We understand these questions. We are committed to intellectual freedom, even when viewpoints expressed do not align with our values. This is unbelievable. I never thought I'd be clapping for Seattle Public Libraries, but it's true. And again, you can choose whether to bring your child to the book reading. You don't have to go. No one's making you go. And that's why, as an example, I don't really care about drag queen story time. As long as it is not some sort of weird sexual thing, like we've seen some weird clips from drag queen events where I'm like, you're just exposing yourself to a child, and that's against the law. So as long, I saw some drag queen story times where it's like a drag queen dressed as a cute old lady reading a book to kids. Fine. Bring your kids to that if you want to.
And as long as they're not saying no to some and saying yes to others.
Right.
Just, it's a space and you're asked to rent a space. Now, I know some people will be like, what if, Satan worshipers, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, it's a private space and you have a choice to attend.
Right.
I think it's not indoctrination. It's not bringing it into school and telling kids that they have to listen to this lesson or listen to Kirk Cameron or listen to, a drag queen. I think that's where people get frustrated. And to separate those, I'm excited that Seattle Public Libraries acknowledge the difference.
Yeah, as long as it's not against the law or being forced on someone. And that's why I make the distinction of against the law, because there are some drag events where I'm like, no, that is indecent exposure, and that's against the law.
The sexualization, whatever.
Yeah, but I think this is great for Seattle Public Libraries, which is supposed to be an institution of learning funded by taxpayer dollars, to stand up to Seattle's what can be a crazy woke mob on the left, and say, no, we're going to do this event just as we would a book that conservatives or people who are very religious might not like. So good, unbelievable. Yes. Unbelievable in a good way today.
Yes, exciting.
Good story selection, Nicole.
And I like that Kirk came to Seattle and, nothing terrible happened. You could have protesters with their opinions out there, but nobody was terrible to him. And good.
Right. And that's the thing. The signs were pretty tame.
They were.
I love a good protester.
Yeah.
I love a good you want to come out and protest Kirk Cameron? the thing that gives him the ability to be there reading his book to kids that people don't like is the same thing that gives you the ability to be outside protesting it. I think it's all
And there were plenty of supporters.
Peacefully. Yeah. And there were plenty of supporters.
So go for it.
Love it, Seattle. More of this. More of this.